Hello YouTube, long time no see. Today I'm going to be trying something new and doing a retrospective review on this JVC DV tape camcorder that I picked up a few months ago. So about 5 months ago, I developed an unhealthy obsession with collecting tape camcorders. One thing that I noticed about a lot of the camcorders that I own is nobody's really done a proper retrospective review on them. Or those who have done reviews gave me the impression that they were doing a review as they go type of approach. In other words, I felt like they didn't really get to know the ins and outs of the device before writing the script, or they were just free speaking to the camera. This will be the first in maybe many videos that I do over the various camcorders that I own. Today I will be reviewing the JVC GR-DVL300U. Man, that is a mouthful, and I had to look over at the script to remember that model number. Now, finding marketing information for this camcorder is tough, so pardon me if I don't give too many technical specifications on this camcorder. Most of those you can find quickly with a Google search because JVC is pretty good at keeping a product page alive for their camcorders. Now, I can't really find any information on this camcorder in any sort of brochures or catalogs, so I'm not really sure of the year that this came out, but if you look at the product manual, you will see that there's a copyright for the year 2000, so I'm going to assume the camcorder came out sometime around the turn of the millennium. When I discuss the qualities and features of this camcorder, I want to keep in mind the era it came out and compare it fairly and not against new camcorders like the Sony HDR CX405 that I got for free from this wonderful old lady. Now, I don't just have one, I have two of these camcorders. I picked up a pair of these on Facebook Marketplace about a couple months ago for $50 for the pair. They came with a bunch of accessories that I'm never going to use, like a remote to start and stop the recording. That's not the purpose I'm going to be using these for. And half of the other accessories that it came with didn't even work. Like the charger that I got for this camcorder didn't even work. So I took them home and plugged them into the DC charger, and I assumed the batteries were totally dead because the charger didn't even light up. However, I ended up learning whenever I tried to run these off DC power that the DC power jack was also broken on it. In fact, the entire charger assembly was broken, so I ended up having to go on Amazon and buy a new charger. The battery life on this camcorder is perfectly reasonable for a camcorder of its era. On the standard BN-B408U battery that would come included with this camcorder, you can expect to record through an entire mini DV tape with no issues, as long as you weren't using the included light on the camcorder. This is great when you want to have a minimal setup and just go with your kid to the zoo and not carry around a camera bag or keep extra batteries in your fanny pack. However, I've learned with these camcorders, I typically want to bring along a cleaning cassette, as the camera will often bitch at me that it needs a cleaning cassette. The quality is what I would consider average for a DV camcorder of the era, but this was a very average camcorder. I assume that's why I probably didn't find any catalogs with it included. I can assume this was the kind of camcorder that you would have seen on sale at Circuit City with a $3.99 price tag, trying to get the market for people who wanted to get into the digital format and ditch their VHS-C camcorder. I actually have no idea what the MSRP for this product was, so keep that in mind. I could be dramatically off on the price point for this camcorder. This camcorder just screams mid to me. However, I do think if I was a middle-class parent in the year 2000 and I needed to find a camcorder to film basic home video with, like my kids' soccer games, this would have been adequate enough for what I needed. Now, the camcorder itself isn't too heavy. You can tell it's more dense than a VHS-C camcorder of the same time, but since it's smaller, it weighed slightly less and would overall be less cumbersome to bring along. A wise man on the internet once said, "The best camcorder is the one you want and remember to bring." One of the reasons most consumers, including my parents, refused to leave the VHS format was because of the nature of not being able to easily send someone else the tape and then being able to pop it into their VCR and watch it on their TV. If I may go on a small rant for a second, because this is an issue I'm distinctly familiar with, most consumers rarely sent video to their family, and when they did, it was usually a few minutes. Me, as a time-traveling salesman, would have loved to have had a friendly talk with my parents before they bought a Panasonic PV-A208D in November of 1999 and informed them of how simple it was to hook up the mini DV camcorder to the VCR at home and make a VHS tape of what they wanted to send for all of the total of 6 minutes worth of footage they ever ended up sending to the family. This is a subsection of a larger rant I have on consumer tendencies for VHS tape usage, including the dreaded SLP mode that plagues most home footage that I see from the 90s and early 2000s. Wow, what a tangent. Let's get back into the actual review and talk about this camcorder, shall we? This camcorder has 2 viewfinders, a fold-out color LCD and an eyepiece viewfinder that is black and white. I have no idea if the eyepiece is CRT or LCD, but the quality is acceptable and on bright days lets you see what you are recording. Speaking of bright days, the LCD screen is absolutely horrible in bright conditions, almost unusable in anything other than softly lit indoor scenes. Let's put it this way, once you hit a point in the lighting where the camera no longer needs to gain up, the LCD is too dark to use. What a shame. One thing that lends to this being an entry-level DV camcorder is the fact that the eyepiece doesn't extend out. So if you are using an extended battery like I have on here right now, you will be unable to comfortably use the eyepiece without the battery pushing into your cheek, preventing you from making proper contact with the eye cup. Do me a favor and spell out eye cup for me real quick. Disgusting.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we are on the drive to Port Aransas Beach. Let's go!
During recording, you got the typical JVC experience for the time. There was an auto mode and there was a manual mode. Now the only way to access the menu was through the manual mode. And weirdly enough, the only way to change settings that could also pertain to the automatic mode was to switch it into manual mode. However, I found myself just using manual mode and I never ended up switching into auto mode. However, there are a few settings you can change in the auto mode. You have this mode button on the side of it, and what that does is let you cycle through different picture frames for whenever you take stills. However, whenever you're taking stills, the quality is horrible. 640 by 480 interlaced, and even at the time, that was horrible. You had multi-megapixel cameras that were actually on the market for a fairly reasonable cost. Supposedly, there's a way to pull the photos from this using a 3.5-inch jack to serial. However, I don't have the software for that, nor do I have the correct PC requirement. I think it's Windows 2000, Windows XP. I'm running on Windows 10, so unfortunately, I can't really demonstrate that for you. And in all honesty, I doubt anybody's going to use that feature today, nor did I think anybody used that feature back in the day. Now the camcorder does offer a 10 times optical zoom, and there is a digital zoom. However, you can just do that in software, so I never use that. It does have dynamic image stabilization, which I find extremely mid. However, I'm not familiar with image stabilization from the time, so as far as I'm concerned, it could have been great, but I don't notice it at all. I notice that as you zoom in, however, the stabilization scaling factor does increase, so as you zoom in, it will stabilize more. The only way I notice that is whenever you're shooting videos in low light, there's a dead pixel on the CCD that is stuck blue. So whenever I zoom in, you get to see that little blue pixel dance around the screen. I might have an example clip I can show you.
Hey guys, get together. Cool, got it.
The dynamic image stabilization for this camcorder was probably very useful for the parents that would zoom in and record their kids' entire 45-minute play that they're 100% going to watch back the entire thing in the future. The included light is usable, however it does take a noticeable hit on the battery life, so I would recommend, unless you absolutely need to use the light, don't use it. If you have an external light like I'm using right now, they're $15 on Amazon, just get something like that. However, if you have a big extendo battery like I do, you'll probably be fine going through an entire tape with the light on, no issue. Now the included tiny speaker is perfectly adequate for making sure that your recording's sound is working. However, you're not going to be blowing anybody away with Dolby Atmos surround sound style quality out of this camcorder. It was very average for the time. Now the menu that's built into the camera does have quite a bit of features, but if you're doing any sort of serious content creation, it's not going to have the features that you're looking for in the menu. This camera was really geared towards the mom or dad that was filming their kid's soccer practice.
All right, Eric.
Yeah. Hey, there's that chick.
Oh, hey, I haven't seen you in a while.
Where'd they drag you from?
Now these camcorders did have some common issues, and I'm going to assume that they're common because whenever I picked up these camcorders as a pair, they both had the same issues. Of course, whenever I picked up these camcorders, all the batteries that I got with them were non-functional. They did charge, however, they would only hold a battery life of about 5 minutes, and then they would end up pooping out. And if you tried to flip on the light, they would instantly just show 0 battery and kill off the camera. However, that was easily solved. I just bought some replacement batteries on Amazon, and they work perfectly fine. Now, both the camcorders needed a cleaning cassette treatment because none of them would play back any tapes whenever I got them. However, a quick run-through with the cleaning tape fixed all those issues. Keep in mind, as with most tape camcorders, these absolutely hate moisture. Whenever I took them to the beach, they had some serious issues whenever I tried to film some footage the following morning of us waking up and getting ready to leave. The footage that I got that morning was completely unusable. Now, periodically these camcorders had an issue where whenever you would turn them on, the head drums would spin up very, very fast, then it would throw an error code. Now, for the most part, this was remedied by giving it a quick little smack on the bottom. But as I use these cameras more often, what ended up happening is that they would keep spinning up or that wouldn't fix the issue, and so it became a serious problem that I had to address and fix. So I figured I have 2 camcorders, if I break one, oh well, I have another one as a parts camcorder, I can try it again. So unfortunately, the fix for that is quite tedious. You have to open up the camcorder completely, taking out quite a bit of screws, and you have to unseat the ribbon cable that's for the head drum of the camcorder, put some deoxit on it, and then put it back in. That will fix your issue. However, if you're like me, I'm not very careful and I have a tendency of breaking ribbon cable, so please repair at your own risk. I haven't decided to do the same on the other camcorder, but that's mostly because that's just sitting on the shelf as a parts camcorder. I don't really bring both these out at the same time. So in conclusion, would I recommend this camcorder for someone back in the 2000s? Well, it really depends on what the price point is. If it was under $500 and you were just a dad or a mom that was looking to film their kid's soccer practice or record a home movies, the memories, all that kind of stuff, I would recommend this camera. The tapes were relatively cheap and the camcorder's light. It got pretty good battery life. The picture quality's was way better than VHS tape was at the time. So yes, I would recommend this. However, if it was anything over $500, it's really too expensive for such a mid camera. You didn't get quite a few features with this. I would have probably recommended a Sony Digital 8 camcorder. I do have a couple of those. Those are my absolute favorite tape camcorders that I have, so I would recommend those instead. But sub $500 for the mini DV tape camcorder, I would recommend it. Now, how about today? Do I recommend it if you see one of these out on Facebook Marketplace and you want to jump on it? It depends. I honestly wouldn't pay more than $40 per camcorder. It's really up to you, but these things, they're very average. Maybe if you want to record skateboarding videos or you want to record band footage or something. I don't know how reliable these are. They've been kind of alright for me, but like I said, I did have to crack them open and repair them. So if you're up to the task, that's definitely something that you should keep in mind. But if you can see one of these for $40 or less, I would definitely go and pick it up. Well, that's my review for the JVC GR-DVL300U camcorder. I've never made a video like this before, so hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any comments or suggestions on what I can do to improve, Just let me know, leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I've had the username McFixStuff since 2008, and I've never made content that fit the username till now. So hopefully this gets me started in the right direction. Once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
So yeah, this thing has 1 battery left. All my stuff is dead. My Milo, which is the worst freaking device in the world, is out of battery. This is the only other camera I have, which is my mom's camera. This thing, I use this for some of my videos. This thing sucks ball sack. Worst idea I ever made. Sony, if you're watching this, you have to make a new one. You have to make a new one. Open up a forum and have everybody put their ideas of what they want the camera to be like, and just please do that.